Good evening, everyone, and thank you for starting the new year with us. I am Trevor Ault in for Lindsay Davis, and we begin with dangerous weather from coast to coast. Bitter cold and snow in the northeast, and another round of flooding and mudslides threatening Southern California. This time-lapse video capturing snow accumulating on Pittsburgh's Neville Island Bridge. That area was also getting hit simultaneously with lightning and thunder. Buffalo, New York, expecting to see more scenes just like that with near whiteout conditions. Out west, millions of Americans are now under a flood watch because of heavy rains in Southern California. In Pasadena today, rain poured down on the annual Rose Parade for the first time in decades. The parade goers there had to brave those elements as umbrellas are banned. And our weather team is standing by with the forecast. But first, ABC's Rena Roy leads us off tonight.
Tonight, the new year kicking off with extreme weather on both coasts. Along the Great Lakes, new winter storm warnings in effect. People all over Syracuse shoveling and scraping. Some areas could get at least 3 feet of more snow through this weekend.
Happy New Year!
Just hours after the ball came down in Times Square, powerful snow squalls moved into the northeast, dumping nearly half a foot of snow outside Pittsburgh, along with lightning and thunder. In the waterlogged west, more rain. Thousands of families in Southern California bracing for the threat of more mudslides, and in Pasadena this morning, it literally rained on the 137th Rose Parade for the first time in 20 years. With no umbrellas allowed, parade goers braving the weather in ponchos, performers getting soaked along the route. Crews sweeping water off the field at the Rose Bowl ahead of the big game between Alabama and Indiana. And back here in the Northeast, we are dealing with wind chills in the teens from New York City to Boston. And tomorrow morning, Trevor, is not looking much better.
Rena Roy leading us off tonight. Rena, thank you. So let's get right to meteorologist Brittany Bell now from our New York station WABC. Brittany, when can people expect any kind of relief from this brutal Arctic air?
Trevor, we have to be patient because we have to wait until later next week to finally get some relief with near normal temperatures. Let's get right to those frigid wind chills. Early tomorrow morning in New York City, it could feel like 11 degrees. Also, wind chills around 15 below zero in portions of Maine and 3 below in parts of Michigan. This Arctic blast also bringing in lake effect snow. There's a winter storm warning near Buffalo and Erie, and that lake effect snow continues tonight through tomorrow, lasting into early Saturday. Spots near Buffalo could see up to a foot of snow and 1 to 2 feet possible in between Watertown and Syracuse. But I mentioned some relief, and here's what's coming. The latest outlook is showing temperatures will likely be above normal for the eastern half of the country and near normal or a little bit cooler than normal across the west coast. And the last thing they need out west is more rainfall. Unfortunately, that's what they're going to get starting Friday throughout this weekend with multiple rounds of rain, even some snow. A widespread 1 to 2 inches is possible. Some higher totals close to 2 to 4 inches with up to 2 to 4 feet of snow in the mountains. Trevor?
Brittany Bell, thank you so much. Turning overseas now to a horrifying tragedy during New Year's celebrations at a Swiss ski resort. Some flames ripped through a bar on the property. Officials say about 40 people were killed, at least 100 more were injured, and it could take days or weeks to identify all the victims. Tom Zufi Burridge is on the scene tonight in Switzerland.
Tonight, the deadly bar inferno at a New Year's celebration in a Swiss ski resort. The death toll now standing at around 40 people, with more than 100 injured. This video showing flames spreading on the ceiling in that crowded venue as music blares. Wish! Another video capturing the desperate effort to get out.
People was walking on everybody, and trying to escape. And a lot of people were screaming.
Switzerland's president calling the blaze at the Crans-Montana resort in the Swiss Alps one of the worst tragedies our country has ever experienced. An investigation is now underway to determine the cause, which authorities believe to be an accident. Victoria was in the bar when the fire started and says she saw waiters carrying giant sparklers with bottles of champagne too close to the ceiling. Around the same time it caught fire.
The sparklers that were alight were right next to the ceiling.
Exactly, and so it took a fire, and I realized, me and my friends, we were the first one to realize that there was fire.
Authorities now racing to identify the victims, who are from multiple countries, as desperate families now wait for word. Nane Gasparian and her friends telling me they know people who were either killed or injured.
I can't believe that all this happened. It's very terrifying.
now leaving flowers at a growing memorial.
Just a horrific story. And Tom Sufi-Burridge joins us now from Switzerland. Tom, of course, I can only imagine the pain and the grief for the people who are still there waiting to hear about their loved ones.
Yeah, Trevor, it is. There's a sense of shock and grief in this community. And Constellation, the bar, nightclub, is just down that road. The police have closed off this area. You can see the candles that people have been lighting. They've been laying flowers. The officials here in Switzerland believe around 40 people were killed in the inferno inside that bar in the early hours of this morning, just after the New Year was celebrated in that bar. And, you know, we've been speaking to people in this community since we arrived, and pretty much everyone we speak to, Trevor, either knows somebody who's been badly injured and is in hospital, being treated for severe burns, or somebody who's missing. They just don't know where their friends are, or people they know perished and didn't get out of that bar. And as you say, that was a crowded bar, a very popular place in this local area. We spoke to 3 young Swiss women who used to go out there on a regular basis, and they say that it's underground. It's just 1 floor below ground level into the nightclub, and they say there is 1 exit to that bar. And you can see from some of the videos, people trying to get out of that exit. Clearly, it was very crowded, very popular with young people, so a lot of teenagers and people in their 20s were inside when the inferno broke out at about 1:30 a.m. local time.
Just a nightmare. Okay, Tom, thank you. And back here at home, after months of debate and a failure to reach a deal, Affordable Care Act subsidies have now expired, and that means costs are set to spike for more than 20 million Americans. Some may now simply opt to go without health insurance entirely. And senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has the details.
Tonight, after months of Washington inaction, more than 20 million Americans hit with soaring healthcare costs as those affordable healthcare subsidies have now expired. Premiums skyrocketing 114% on average, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. It's a massive financial blow for Americans like Dawn Wheeler in Kansas City. She's undergoing treatment for breast cancer that has spread to her liver and bones. She says her monthly premiums are now jumping from $69 to $272, and her deductible from $0 to $6,000.
Just the chemo drugs alone are thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
Are you able to afford that pretty significant monthly increase?
Not without dipping into savings.
Dawn says she can't work because of her treatments. Her husband taking on more jobs to make ends meet.
I'm really kind of scared going into this year.
The subsidies were created in 2021 to lower insurance costs during the pandemic. Since then, enrollment in the Affordable Care Act has nearly doubled. For months, Democrats fought to extend the tax credits. They were at the heart of the fight on Capitol Hill that led to the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. But that effort failed. Republicans still haven't agreed on a health care plan, and Trump has not released one either. During the campaign, he said he had concepts of a plan.
I'd like to see the money that is going to the insurance companies by the hundreds of billions of dollars. And I want that money to go to the people directly and let the people buy their own health care.
Trump hasn't explained how it would work and what it would mean for health care premiums, especially for the millions now scrambling to figure out how to afford or even keep their insurance.
This is going to impact so many families. Selena Wang joins us now from Palm Beach County, Florida, where the president is spending the holiday. But Selena, I do want to switch gears here for a moment because the president is now pulling the National Guard from several major cities.
That's right, Trevor. The president is also announcing tonight that the National Guard troops will be leaving Portland, Los Angeles, and Chicago. But the president warning, quote, "We will come back if crime begins to soar again." Yet, Trevor, the president is keeping the National Guard troops on the ground in Memphis, New Orleans, and Washington, D.C.
Selena Wang for us tonight from Florida. Selena, thank you so much. And we also want to return to healthcare and really drill down on this topic because it impacts so many Americans with all of these rising costs. So joining us now is Cynthia Cox. She is KFF's vice president and director of their program on the Affordable Care Act. Cynthia, thank you so much for your time. We know this impacts so many Americans. So first off, I would love if you could just give us a reality check first in just how many Americans are using the government's health insurance marketplace and what it's actually going to look like for them cost-wise with these subsidies expire.
So 24 million people currently get health insurance through these Obamacare or ACA marketplaces. the vast majority of them get some sort of financial help to lower their premium costs. And in the last several years, that financial help has been boosted up by these enhanced subsidies that had been available. And those are what expired as of today. So many people are still getting a subsidy, they're just getting less financial help. Other people have lost that financial help altogether starting today. And what we're seeing is that on average, their costs are going to be about twice as much to keep the same plan. But we do know that some people might be looking to switch plans, although that could lead to them having a higher deductible. And so they might end up paying more either way. And these are mostly low income or middle income people who are working but don't have a job that offers health insurance. So that's why they're having to buy it on their own.
Let's take this a little more broadly. So I know that you have written that politicians are squabbling over short-term solutions when it comes to the cost of health care, but they're not actually fixing the underlying problem about all these surging costs. I guess the main question is, why do Americans pay so much more for health care than people in other countries seem to pay?
Yeah, so people in the United States pay about twice as much per person for healthcare. It's also about twice as much as a share of our gross domestic product or as a share of our economy than in other large and wealthy nations. And the big part of that is that we pay doctors and hospitals and prescription drug companies a lot more money. It's these kind of underlying healthcare expenses that are what feed into having a high health insurance premium. That's what's driving costs higher in the United States.
Obviously, there's no massive overhaul of America's healthcare system on the table right now, but in terms of short-term solutions or stopgaps that Republicans and Democrats are discussing, what appears to maybe be on the table?
So the issue at stake here is that these enhanced premium tax credits for ACA Marketplace or Obamacare enrollees are expired as of today. That's financial help to lower the cost of premiums for people who are buying their own insurance. And so, Democrats had been pushing for a clean extension, just have those exact same tax credits feed into the next year. That didn't work out. Some Republicans on the moderate side and some Democrats who are also more moderate and are just looking for any kind of compromise have said, well, where can we meet in the middle? And what that might look like is that lower income people have to pay something each month. Right now, as of last year, they paid nothing. Starting today, they do have to pay a lot out of pocket, but maybe there's some place to meet in the middle there.
So all these discussions they're centered on subsidizing high healthcare costs. If, in a fairy tale world, suddenly all of our lawmakers are on the same page and the number one issue is that they actually want to lower the cost of the healthcare itself, not more subsidies to pay the high cost, actually get the prices down, what would we actually see lawmakers do? Is it even possible?
So first of all, yes, there certainly is room to bring down American healthcare spending, or at least to slow the growth of it, to bring down the growth so that, over time it might come more in line with what other countries are spending. What that would look like would be, frankly, paying doctors and hospitals less or slowing the growth of their payments and also slowing the growth of prescription drug payments. You don't necessarily need to have a single payer system or even a public option. Other countries can achieve this through private insurance-based systems. It could look a lot like our current system, but there needs to be something that looks underneath the hood that says, well, why is health insurance so expensive?
Cynthia Cox with KFF. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And the new year is bringing in some new laws for 2026. There are minimum wage increases, first off, in nearly 20 states. That's impacting more than 8 million workers. Washington state now has the highest minimum wage in the country at $17.13 an hour. There's also new paid family and medical leave programs taking effect in Minnesota, in Maine, and Delaware. Eligible employees there can now take up to 12 weeks per year. Also, a new era begins in New York City as Zohran Mamdani has been sworn in as mayor. The 34-year-old is the first Muslim and the first person of South Asian descent to lead the nation's largest city. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, a new era in the nation's largest city.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear.
34-year-old Zohran Mamdani, propelled to office by immigrants, transplants, young people, and minority groups, publicly sworn in as New York's first Muslim mayor before a freezing crowd, ushering in generational, religious, and ideological change.
I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist.
Mamdani also extending a hand to skeptics of his ambitious plans to make one of the world's most expensive cities more affordable.
If you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor.
Mamdani's rise from political obscurity stunned the city and the country, and he's out to prove it was no fluke.
So standing together with the wind of purpose at our backs, we will do something that New Yorkers do better than anyone else. We will set an example for the world.
And Aaron Katursky joins us now from New York City. Of course, Aaron, we saw in the campaign Zohran Mamdani talking over and over again about affordability, but now that he's actually in office, what's his focus early in this term?
Well, we got a hint today, just hours after his inauguration ceremony, Trevor. He was in Brooklyn at an apartment where the building had threatened a rent strike. He's pledging to make rent more affordable and help protect tenants. That was his first official act as mayor, and he took his private oath of office at midnight in a subway station. Another focus of his, making buses and other public transit better and more affordable for everyday New Yorkers. So right away, he's making symbolic choices that help signal the agenda ahead, Trevor.
And the work starts now. Okay, Aaron Katursky, thank you. And there has been a manhunt after a chilling discovery in Columbus, Ohio. A dentist and his wife both found shot to death inside their home. Their young children were also there. They were found safe, but investigators are now on the scene. And here's Ike Jachi.
Tonight, police cars and crime scene tape surrounding a Columbus, Ohio home in Wineland Park, a historic close-knit neighborhood now gripped by fear. Inside, officers say 37-year-old dentist Spencer Tepe and his 39-year-old wife Monique, parents of two young children, were found shot to death Tuesday after multiple 911 calls from friends and co-workers, this one asking for a welfare check when he didn't show up for work.
He is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever, and we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Investigators say there were no obvious signs of forced entry and no gun recovered at the scene, and they do not believe this was a murder-suicide. Two small children were found inside the home unharmed. Tonight, a small memorial of sunflowers and roses just steps from their front door. Trevor, police are still searching for answers, and they're asking anyone with information to contact them immediately. Trevor?
Okay, Ike Jachi, thank you so much. Well, in Amsterdam, flames devastated the historic Vondelkerk Church. This happened during New Year's celebrations. This is a 150-year-old cultural landmark there, and parts of the spire collapsed. Authorities say the remaining church walls do appear stable. There's no word yet on the cause, but some there suggested New Year's fireworks may have been involved. Well, some welcome news for lovers of Italian cuisine. The U.S. is lowering tariffs on 13 Italian pasta makers. At one point, they were all facing the prospect of 92% tariffs. Well, those tariffs will now be down to about 2 to 14%, somewhere in that range. And the U.S. has been reviewing whether the pasta companies were selling their products at artificially low prices, hurting producers in the U.S. The Trump administration has already imposed a 15% tariff on most imports from the European Union. Well, coming up, our Lindsay Davis brings us some impactful stories in pop culture. For one, he is called the patron saint of the internet. Carlo Acutis was the first saint to grow up wearing sneakers and jeans, why many in the Catholic faith believe he may be a draw for newer, younger parishioners. Plus, as we enter the new year, we often think about our health, but what happens when someone we love falls ill or when we fall ill? We're going to learn why having a living will is crucial, no matter your age.
Welcome back, everyone. A little more than 1 year ago, Paris's famed Notre Dame Cathedral reopened after that devastating fire. We went to Paris and got a chance to see the beautiful renovation up close. Take a look.
1 year since reopening, Paris's famed Notre Dame Cathedral is still undergoing a stunning resurrection. Amidst stones that whisper of flames, tourists gather, some with closed eyes in prayer, others with wide-eyed wonder. But all who enter here, whether seeking faith or history, find themselves looking upward. Outside, scaffolding serves as a reminder that this 850-year-old building is still healing, still becoming, restoring what 2019's fire tried to claim but could not extinguish.
All right.
All suited up, we went to see the restoration still in progress, expected to be finished in 2028.
Bonjour, Monsieur Jost, Lindsay.
Bonjour.
Je m'appelle Lindsay.
Philippe Jost is Secretary General of Notre Dame, charged with overseeing this massive undertaking of reconstruction.
President Macron at the time said, we're going to build this up, it's going to be even more beautiful. Do you think you've achieved that?
We are very happy of what has been done here.
Okay.
Je vous en prie, allez-y.
Let's see.
So we will go up and you will see what has been done last year and years before and see what is in course now. So I'm taking this lift.
One of the first restorative wonders we see, that wooden spire topped with the famed golden rooster that had dramatically collapsed in the flames.
So we see here what we have done.
The spire.
The spire is on wood, oak.
Okay, it's
and
wood.
Completely wood, but the wood is covered with lead. But very thin.
Okay.
Lead.
And is that how it was originally made?
Yeah,
okay.
Totally. The same materials, oak, lead, stone, and the same way to build.
They did add one thing that wasn't in the original build, fire protection.
We did what we call an authentic restoration.
Okay.
A restoration that's required 2,000 workers from 250 companies with a cost of roughly $1 billion. Throughout the process, unique touches were added by those tasked with the Herculean effort to bring Notre Dame back to life. One of them is inside that famous spire.
In the rooster, there is a parchment paper with the names of all people who have worked for that.
Wow, that's so impressive.
And their names are there for centuries.
Wow. How do Parisians feel about this? Is there a sense of pride when you look at this building?
And not only Parisian, a very clearly national pride that we were able to do that in 5 years, and we were able to mobilize so beautiful skills.
How do you feel personally?
Personally, I was very, very happy to work on this monument. I'm Catholic, so I was fond of this monument for a lot of reasons. A lot of us, and I can say it's a work of a life.
Joss says that Americans were second only to the French in giving money for the rebuilding of Notre Dame.
I think it's very significant of the closeness of relationship between France and United States. And I want so to thank all American donors, and also to say, continue to give.
You still need more money.
Still give more money because the monument needs more money.
How much more do you need?
We valued that to 150 million euros.
This crown jewel still under repair, but very much alive.
We feel there's a soul inside this building.
It's the soul of a cultural monument, Catholic monument, and it's the soul of all that people who has worked here have given to the monument. The monument is not ordinary, and what we have done together is not ordinary.
And coming up, Angelina Resendez was in the Navy when she was killed. Now a date has been set for a fellow service member to go on trial for her death. Her mother says the Navy was dishonest in the handling of the case and is now fighting not only for her daughter, but for similar cases involving women in the military. We take an in-depth look. Now to the story of slain sailor Angelina Resendez, a 21-year-old culinary specialist stationed in Virginia who allegedly lost her life at the hands of a fellow service member whose murder trial was just set to start in June of 2026. Now her family is demanding change and accountability from the military after charging documents from the Navy Criminal Investigation Service revealed that the man suspected of killing Angie had multiple allegations prior to her death, including rape, sexual assault, and revenge porn. Their hope that women can be safe to serve. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has her story.
It was a calling, is what she said.
Angelina Resendez, lovingly referred to as Angie, was 18 years old when she joined the military. In her second year, she would be stationed at the Norfolk Naval Base in Virginia, nearly 2,000 miles away from her home in Texas.
She made new friends and she was excited about the things that, what a culinary specialist, like what it opens up once she leaves the Navy. On May 29, her friends reached out to my son and to myself to let us know that they have not seen Angie and no one was helping them.
According to the Virginia State Police, Angie was last seen on May 29, 2025, around 10 a.m. at her barracks at the naval station. That same day, Angie's friends reached out to Esmeralda, telling her they couldn't find her daughter. Esmeralda contacted the military immediately.
When I called and I said Angie's name, they already knew who she was and why I was calling.
On June 3rd, a missing persons alert was issued by the Virginia State Police on behalf of the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, known as NCIS. 9 days later, the Navy formally announced Angelina's disappearance.
It just brings you to your knees. Like start praying, like, what is happening?
The Navy's not responsible for telling the family anything. The Navy also doesn't have a responsibility to discuss any other people that she potentially was with or her, who she might have left with or came back with. They're only required to note that she has been missing for 10 days or more.
After Esmeralda reported Angie missing to the Navy, an NCIS spokesperson told her that Angie came back to the base. She then asked the Navy to have Angie contact her, but that never happened.
And I called her friend back and let him know. It's like, hey, they said she's okay, that they found her. He told me not to believe them.
Then she saw a post by NCIS. On June 10th, while scrolling on Facebook, Esmeralda read the words, "Deceased body discovered." Her daughter was dead. Esmeralda told us NCIS posted on social media before reaching out, releasing a statement that the Norfolk Medical Examiner's Office confirmed her body was discovered in a wooded area and that a sailor was placed in pre-trial confinement in connection to her death.
I wanted to see her. I can't say that it looked like a body, right? It looked like it's just meat, and it was meat infested with maggots. Like, did you just send her home like this?
10 days after reporting Angie's death, on June 20th, her body was sent back home to Texas. Esmeralda saying goodbye to Angie, without answers, without an autopsy report, and not knowing who the fellow sailor being held in confinement was.
If someone has been put in confinement, they are not required to provide any information to the family.
It's hard.
It's the worst thing a parent can go through.
Like Angie, but Angie's in the box now. Like, Angie's not here anymore. What do you do? I have a fight now. She's changed my life again, completely. And so, but good things can come. I really do believe it. Like, something good's gonna come.
Now, as we stand, accountability is something that does not exist with the military.
We say enough. Can you say her name? Angelina.
Angelina!
4 months after her disappearance, Angelina's family told ABC News the sailor being held in confinement was officially charged. NCIS did not release a statement about the charges, and 3 months after her family informed us, they sent a charging document revealing the suspect was Seaman Jeremiah T. Copeland, charged with the murder of Angelina Resendez, who was believed to be killed on May 29th, the day she was last seen.
It's like my spine is missing, or my heart, or anything, like, because that's my little sister, you know, I grew up with her.
He took a life, and he took it for what reason? Why did he take it? That's what makes me mad. Why? And why did the Navy let this happen?
Adding to the family's anger, the charging document included a laundry list of other accusations. Copeland had additional charges stemming from multiple incidents in 2024 and 2025 prior to Angelina's murder, with multiple names of alleged victims blacked out for their privacy. The details gruesome, with charges including sexual misconduct, rape, obstructing justice, and revenge porn.
He has a past of doing all this stuff already.
To other
girls.
An individual familiar with the NCIS investigation told ABC News they immediately commenced a variety of investigative steps when NCIS received a notification from the Norfolk Police Department the evening of May 31st, 2 days after Esmeralda called them. They added that their actions increased over the next 10 days until Angelina's body was recovered.
I think my daughter, this is the rest of her life.
The change that I am looking for would feel safe for women to join the military. Last time I talked to Angie's friends, when I went to Virginia, they're scared. Like the women, they're scared for each other. They're scared for themselves. Are you just gonna let the military come up with their own plan?
Well, the Navy, it would be the Department of Defense and the Navy.
Congressman Vicente Gonzalez is one of 19 members of Congress demanding more information and additional protections so this doesn't happen again.
Every Latino member of Congress in the state of Texas signed this letter, and we sent that to Secretary Phelan at the Navy.
Nearly 56% of women of color have reported some form of military sexual trauma. Within the Department of Defense, many of the sexual harassment and assault programs have been impacted because they recognize that there are disproportionate and disparate impacts of harassment and assault on women of color. Those programs have largely been defunded or stopped in recent months.
Last 5 years, we've had I have reports of 4 young women. There may be many more because there's no public database that informs the public of other situations like this.
I still can't believe this is happening, right? Like all the things the next steps that have to happen, hurt. And so, like, just to think about Angie, because I'm like, why do I have to take these steps? Oh, because she's not here. She's under the pillows with her head sticking out and her tongue sticking out. But she's not here anymore. And this is what life is not right now. It is helping Angie, still helping Angie. Like that, when I think about it, like I have to help my kid.
She will never stop fighting for her daughter. Our thanks to Stephanie Ramos for that. Coming up, it's a sacred instrument, our voice. And for some, it has a very special meaning. Our Steve Osinsami with an in-depth report. And we're taking you to Paris to the European premiere of the new Avatar movie. Find out what you can expect from the film. Welcome back. There's a peculiar singing of hymns today that for many is less about religion and more about community. The sacred harp is what it's called, and it's most frequently practiced in the South. It's a unique form of a cappella and choral singing of church hymnals and odes in the round that sounds like it should be the soundtrack of a post-Civil War period piece, and indeed, it dates back to the late 18th century. Today, it's attracting more young people than you might think. ABC senior national correspondent Steve Osinsami has this story.
Fa, sol, la, fa, sol, fa.
What's old is new again.
You may tell them, Father.
Sometimes every week.
La, sol, la, sol, la.
In small spaces like this one across the Western world.
When you're actually singing Sacred Heart properly, there's, I guess I would call it a rawness that is not in normal music of today.
It's not always magical, but sometimes it really is.
They bring no instruments, just the human voice. The sacred harp, they call it. A style of singing born in 18th century Europe that found its home in the American South. They may look like they're at a church revival, in a square, keeping the rhythm of the hymns with their hands. But there's no religion here.
We sing sacred words, and to a lot of us, it is worship.
Okay.
To others, perhaps not so. We have Jews singing, we have Catholics, we have Christians, we have some Muslims. It doesn't matter.
Helen Brown from Ireland
I think it's about time we sing.
is one of the many singers from across the globe who make the pilgrimage to America nearly every year. Singing at all-day events like this one. From morning to night in a peculiar four-part harmony, with each part singing from their edge of the hollow square.
Before COVID, we would come over 2 or 3 times a year if we could, because this is where the heart of the singing is. I mean, we sing in the UK and we sing really well, but it's not like coming here. The more you come, the more the music gets ingrained in you, and it speaks to my heart.
They sing some of the same old hymns that were in the 2003 Oscar-winning film Cold Mountain. Set at the end of the American Civil War, celebrating a chorus that was accessible to anyone at a time when people were doing well if they could read words, much less music. The Sacred Harp is also the name of their songbook, first published in rural Georgia in 1864. They update the book about once every generation.
This is the 1991 edition. This book has more than 550 songs in it.
Jesse Carlberg, a young father, wrote new songs for the latest book released this fall.
I was a music major as an undergrad. You know, I was in a totally different musical world. I was interested in experimental music, electronic music, and things like that. So this traditional singing where people don't need an audience as an excuse, you know, to get together, but they just want to sing and make music for each other, and it forms these kind of bonds that singers come to feel is akin to family. It was really moving to me.
They say the music on the printed page is easier to read because while it uses the same do-re-mi music structure that many people know, the notes are printed with different shapes.
The fa is a triangle, the sol is a circle or an oval, the la is a square, slightly rectangle, and the mi is a diamond.
The shape tells you how high or low the pitch is. Everyone will sing through the song then on these shape notes. Fa, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, sol, la. And everyone will be singing their harmony parts on those shape note syllables.
So my memory is this is an A in bass clef, right?
Yep.
Okay. So it's still the same A note.
It's the same. So we sing fa, fa, sol, la, sol, fa.
People with no musical training can learn the intervals between the fa and the sol, the fa and the la, etc. And they can learn to sight read music just by shape note.
And you don't even need to be able to sing that well to be welcomed here.
You don't have to have a beautiful voice. You're joining your voice with the person on your left and your right and across the square.
More than 700 people from different faiths and dozens of countries came to Atlanta one Saturday morning to sing from the new edition of their songbook.
The communal part of this is super important to you.
Some people we sing with each other almost every week, and other people we might see just once every few years. But we come to love these singers.
If you sing Sacred Harp, you're my friend, and we love you. It's family.
Where today can folks, without any musical training, have people welcome them in, say, hey, let's make music together. It's very unusual, but it's something I think that people want.
To connect with real people in person, it's a spiritual experience.
The sound just penetrates you. The sound penetrates you and just makes you come alive.
There's like this tension in it that always releases, and it's just really powerful.
They say here, every voice is holy.
Everybody draws you in, and as long as people want to sing, then they will be welcomed with open arms.
Our thanks to Steve Osinsami for that. Finally, it's the third installment of a blockbuster franchise. Avatar: Fire and Ash has roared into theaters, and an entirely new chapter unfolds, fueled by grief, found family, and the fight for what's right. We had the opportunity to travel to Paris for the movie's European premiere, and we sit down with the mastermind behind Avatar, director James Cameron, and stars Zoe Saldana, Sam Worthington, Sigourney Weaver, Una Chaplin, and Stephen Lang. We discussed how real-life issues are woven into the film's story.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
It's an exhilarating, action-packed, cinematic spectacle with what's been called Titanic heartbreak.
No, Spider.
Already nominated for 2 Golden Globe Awards.
We must fight!
It's the latest visual marvel from Academy Award-winning director James Cameron. The third installment of the blockbuster franchise.
I'll kill you, I swear!
Avatar: Fire and Ash. We got a chance to sit down with some of the cast ahead of the glitz and glamour of the global premiere under these Parisian lights. Let me begin with you, Mr. Cameron. In a society that increasingly is described as having a short attention span, how do you still manage to create 3 hours and 15 minutes? You grab us, you pull us in, and never let us go.
Well, I think the answer is in the question, right? So when we have all this stuff coming at us all day long, and when we're scrolling and multitasking and doing all of these things, we actually long for a moment of focus. And that's what the theater can give us.
In Sigourney, Stephen, Sam, Zoe, you guys have all been working together with Jim now for, 18 years at this point. But was there something in this latest installment that you still found newly inspiring?
Absolutely. I mean, the man is an incredible writer, and I like reading his scripts more than anybody's. First of all, you're reading it and you're going, well, how's he going to do that? How's he going to do that? But the truth is that they're so rich with such important themes and you know, like how to process grief and a mixed race family. How is that going to work? We don't shy away from real life while we're giving you the fantasy of your dreams.
For longtime fans, it gives you so much of what you expect to see, the ferocity of Neytiri, the stalwart bravery of Jake Sully. But this one also delivers in new and surprising ways, because each of the characters is just deeper, richer. Their problems are much more manifold than they were before. And so I think it delivers on both levels. It gives you, it fulfills your expectations, but also gives something new to audiences, which will create new expectations.
Certainly grief is a major theme. When we start off, Sam, we're meeting Jake again, coming to grips with the loss of his oldest son. Do you feel that we find Jake now more vulnerable, more hardened, or something else entirely?
I think Jake gets betrayed by the code that he grew up with, which was this military code. That's his default that he goes back to in this. And he kind of loses all the Na'vi ways that we've built up over the last 2 movies. And I think the problem with that is it then tests this marriage that Jim has been exploring. First movie is about a young guy falling in love. Natural progression is they have a family. Now we're really testing what this marriage can survive in these circumstances.
Una, you're new to the group here. What drew you to this character, Varang, who has been described as beautifully unhinged?
My people cried for help. But Ava did not come.
What drew you to this really captivating, intoxicating, dangerous, and deadly person?
James Cameron. And the world of Avatar. I watched the first film without ever thinking that I would ever get to meet any of these guys, And so for me to jump in, it was a dream come true. But then above and beyond that, to then get given the incredible gift of a complex and multi-layered person that had so much history, and then to try and fill that history in every moment, that was a big responsibility.
There are so many mirror images to the environments that we see playing out on Pandora to real life issues. How intentional are those parallels?
Jim travels us light years into this beautiful planet and shows us what we are doing to ours.
Yeah.
It's important to see sometimes what truly takes place and to do it in a way that is safe through storytelling.
It's safe.
That makes you want to come home and sort of go, oh boy, am I doing enough? Am I saying enough? Or am I doing too much and saying too much?
There's no such thing as
no such
too
thing,
much.
Exactly.
That is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.